Very occasionally, trains just like this one can be involved in an emergency. Railcorp's policy is, wherever possible, to bring a train involved in an emergency into the nearest station so that passengers can exit carriages safely. In some cases, and only when it's safe and necessary to do so, Railcorp personnel might evacuate a stopped train and escort passengers to a station or another safe place. Emergencies vary. They could involve a fire, breakdown, level crossing collision, minor derailment, a major accident such as a rollover, or even a terrorist event. Every situation is different. There may be certain circumstances during emergencies when emergency services personnel need to gain urgent access to passenger trains operating on Railcorp's network in New South Wales. And that's why this video has been produced. It's divided into two parts. The first part gives you important safety information about accessing the rail corridor, which is the area immediately around rail tracks. Please remember, potentially the rail corridor can be a dangerous place.
Wherever possible, except where lives may be in immediate danger, emergency services personnel must only enter the rail corridor accompanied by a Railcorp rail commander. This officer is qualified to assess the risks associated with entering the rail corridor and can arrange for trains to be stopped and electrical power to be turned off. If you are the first person to attend a rail incident, you must radio personnel at your communication centre. They will then contact Railcorp's Rail Management Centre. In some emergencies, it may be necessary to enter the rail corridor and gain access to a passenger train before the rail commander arrives on site. This is only permitted when it has been confirmed to you by the Rail Management Centre through your communication centre that all trains in the immediate vicinity have been stopped and, if necessary, power to railway overhead wires has been turned off. There are a few technical terms you need to know to help you understand the rail corridor and communicate vital information to your communication centre and Railcorp's Rail Management Centre. The rail corridor is the area bounded by fences either side of a set of tracks, or where there are no fences, 15 metres from each outside rail. Usually running parallel to the tracks between the fence line and 3 metres from the outer rail is an area known as the safe place. This is where you would assemble while verifying that trains are not running on tracks near the incident. Parallel with the tracks and within 3 metres either side of them is the danger zone, where there is a real risk you could be hit by a passing train. Do not enter this area unless your communication centre or the rail commander have confirmed that trains have been stopped. Rail corridors vary from a single track to double tracks and multiple tracks. Trains can run on them in one direction or two, sometimes on the same single track. But the principle is always the same. The danger zone within the rail corridor is the area spanning all the tracks and 3 metres either side of the outer rails. If you are the first on the scene, you may have to determine the incident's exact location so that it can be relayed to the Rail Management Centre. Signal identification markers, kilometre posts and signs like these on stanchions can help pinpoint your exact location in the rail corridor. Make an accurate note of them and radio the details to your communication centre. Trains cannot stop easily to avoid people who are on or too close to rail tracks. Because drivers sit up high in their cabs, it's difficult for them to see you if you're too close to the train. A train travelling at speed can seem to appear without warning, especially around a curve. It's possible you may not hear an approaching train, or background noises or the sound of one train may drown out the sound of another. Apart from trains, in the rail corridor there's equipment of all kinds, as well as gullies, obstructions and other hazards. If it is necessary to enter the rail corridor unaccompanied by a Railcorp rail commander, and in common with any emergency you are trained to deal with, you must conduct a risk assessment before entering the corridor. This is mandatory. Lives, including your own, could depend on your risk assessment. Under no circumstances enter a tunnel unless you are accompanied by the rail commander or are authorised to do so by the Rail Management Centre. If you have to enter the rail corridor, you must wear your safety vest and appropriate boots or shoes. Before walking in or near the danger zone, you must establish a safe place to quickly move to in the event of an emergency. Look both ways first before entering the corridor. An incident involving a passenger train can involve a range of hazards: fire, damaged heavy equipment, chemical fumes, leaking fuels, to name just a few. But the two most common hazards are trains travelling on adjacent tracks and damaged electricity cables and associated equipment. If it is absolutely necessary for you to stop trains immediately, you or a colleague should stand in a safe place at least 3 metres from the outside rail. Hold both hands high and wait for the train to stop. Trains may have to be stopped in both directions. It is vital you understand that it takes a suburban passenger train travelling at 60 kilometres per hour approximately 250 metres to stop in ideal conditions. This is how far you will need to be from a City Rail train travelling at 60 kilometres per hour before the driver can stop the train after seeing you. Freight trains, some CountryLink trains and City Rail trains travelling faster than 60 kilometres per hour require even greater stopping distances. The risk of electrocution after a rail incident is very real. That's why it's important for passengers to remain in a train which has been involved in an incident until it can be established there are no electrical hazards or that electrical power to railway overhead wires has been turned off. Residual power or pulses of electricity can sometimes be present even after power appears to have been turned off. That's why, before you can enter the danger zone, RailCorp must confirm that a rescue power outage has been authorised and implemented, meaning that rescue operations only can commence. Recovery and repair, including the movement of rolling stock, cannot take place. In your risk assessment, you must determine that railway overhead wires have not fallen onto the train, rails or other infrastructure near the incident. Always assume the area around the incident is live until your communication centre or the rail commander on site has confirmed that a rescue power outage has been authorised and implemented. Even if electrical infrastructure has not been damaged during the incident you're attending, there is still a risk of electrocution. Railway overhead wires carry 1,500 volts DC, which can generate an arc of electrical current like lightning that can pass from the wire to you if you get too close. You and anything you are carrying must stay at least 1 metre away from railway overhead wires. Never carry a long piece of equipment, such as a ladder, vertically, or it could conduct an arc. Also, never direct a stream of water from a fire hose anywhere near railway overhead wires, unless the nozzle is more than 3 metres away. Incidents and their severity vary. Your risk assessment must allow for all possibilities. You must make use of the resources and expertise of the rail commander on site. Remember, to ensure a safe place for rescue operations, you must determine that trains have been stopped, follow rescue power outage procedures, and continue to assess all other risks and manage any hazards on an ongoing basis.
In this second part of the video, you'll learn about the operation of the emergency door releases, EDRs, which are fitted to every type of train. All RailCorp trains, whether they're City Rail or CountryLink passenger trains, are fitted with keyless emergency door releases. These vary from train type to train type, but the principle is the same. They're located near many carriage doors, and all are easily identified by this green decal. On those occasions when you cannot access a train, using one of its emergency door releases, it might be necessary to use the emergency equipment in your kit. Usually, this will involve prising open a train door or breaking a carriage window using a diamond-tipped hammer, a Halligan tool, a Halmaltro lever in your rapid intervention kit, or a Weber Hydrolock. But the preferred access method is by way of the emergency door release, and this should always be your first option. Okay, we're going to show you how to locate and operate the EDRs on different train types. Obviously, these demonstrations are in optimal conditions where the train has not rolled over and is undamaged.
On the Railcorp network, you'll find these City Rail passenger trains, Tangaras, suburban and intercity silver sets, OSC railcars or Oscars, Millennium trains, Endeavours, and Hunter rail carriages. CountryLink operates XPTs and Explorers. In order to access any of these trains in an emergency, you would normally try to locate the driver or guard. In City Rail trains, the guard's compartment is usually marked with a blue light on the outside of the train. If this light has been damaged or isn't functioning, look for the guard in the centre or end crew compartments. Passenger attendants in CountryLink trains are located throughout the train. If the driver, guard or passenger attendants are incapacitated or unable to open the train's doors for you, you will need to operate the exterior emergency door release, the EDR. The location and operation of emergency door releases vary from train type to train type, but all are indicated by the green decals near carriage doors. Revised emergency door release instruction cards are being issued to emergency services, such as police, fire brigades and ambulance personnel. Please familiarise yourself with the card and ensure it is kept in your emergency vehicle at all times. On City Rail's Tangara fleet, the emergency door release is a black button in the centre of this panel located adjacent to every second set of passenger doors. On each side of a carriage, the buttons are located diagonally opposite each other. Push the button and the doors will open. On some types of Tangaras, there is another emergency door release button, coloured black, in a panel near the guard's door. Push it and the doors open. On CountryLink's XPT trains, emergency door releases are fitted below every passenger door. Push this red button and the doors will open. On City Rail's silver suburban trains, emergency door releases are located diagonally opposite each other under spring-loaded flaps like this one near the end of each carriage. To release the doors, turn this switch clockwise 90 degrees. That's a quarter turn to the right. The doors will open and remain open. You can also access silver suburban trains by way of the terminal doors at the ends of all passenger carriages, except at the driving and trailing ends of the train and the door adjacent to the guard's compartment. On City Rail's silver intercity trains, the emergency door releases are located diagonally opposite each other behind spring-loaded flaps on every carriage near the passenger doors. To release the doors, turn this switch clockwise 90 degrees. The doors will unlock, then they must be slid open manually. Hunter rail carriages have emergency door releases located near each passenger door. Turn this switch and the door will open. On OSC railcars or Oscars, there is an emergency door release located here near each passenger door. Open the cover and turn the switch clockwise 1/4 of a turn. Then manually push the doors open. On CityRail's Endeavour and CountryLink's Explorer trains, the emergency door release is a pull and lift lever located near each passenger door. Lift the lever to open the door. On Millennium trains, emergency door releases are located near all crew doors and adjacent to every second passenger door in each carriage. On each side of a carriage, the releases are located diagonally opposite each other. Open the EDR hatch, pull this red lever, then manually pull open the doors. A train involved in an incident should be secured to prevent it moving. This should be done by RailCorp personnel.
Every RailCorp employee, supervisor and manager is committed to building an organisation-wide safety culture, one that constantly stresses the need to protect the lives of RailCorp's passengers, staff and contractors. And that applies equally to emergency services personnel, such as you and me. People who have to enter the rail corridor urgently when major incidents occur. Remember, every incident is different, but all incidents can be inherently dangerous. There may be occasions when you will need to do whatever's necessary to gain access to a train that's been involved in an emergency. Please take seriously the information we've just presented. It could save your life and the lives of your colleagues.